Yo, what's good, Granny Gang? It's Jay Granny back with another video. Today's video, we're going to talk about fashion and music culture currently. Now, this is something that I want to do on a monthly basis just because I think every month kind of has a new story, updates on new music that drops, and fashion pieces or lines that are dropping, and it all kind of just ties into one. So right here, I got topics, I got things that are dropping, new music, albums, stuff that I've been listening to, my playlist. So we're just gonna hop right into it. Now first, we're gonna start off with clothing, and the first topic that we're gonna get into is Supreme. Now I don't talk about Supreme too much on this channel. I know like every other channel talks about Supreme a lot, so I kind of leave it to them, but I do want to go over it because it is a staple in this fashion culture. So overall, this was one of the better Supreme drops, especially comparing it to the last season. I haven't purchased anything personally. I did want some stuff from that Nike drop that they collabed with a while ago. I think it was like last month, but I did think that drop was really dope, but I just happened to take an L on it. But there hasn't really been much motivation in me buying Supreme. Not that there's anything wrong with Supreme, I just kind of been off it. Maybe it was more like a year or two ago where I kind of had like that impulsive want to buy Supreme, but now it's kind of just like, I don't know, it's like I'm not on that wave. But to go over some of the current drops that I did like, of course I said I liked that Nike collab, but that was last month. So everything from this month that I did like was that Gore-Tex jacket that had like the roses on it. I thought that was really dope. I didn't purchase it, but I just like in general, I just thought it looked really good, and it had the matching set of pants. Honestly, I think the pants would look really dope if you had like a different top that wasn't the matching Gore-Tex, but that's just my personal opinion. And I also liked that brick style. I forget what the name of it was, but it was like a brick style. It had like Supreme, but it was in like different colors and different spots on the sweater. I just thought that was super fire. I actually went to buy it, and then I just changed my mind just because I didn't feel like purchasing it at the time. So for the next topic, it's kind of getting into next month, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up on things that are dropping for the holiday season, because I know everybody's gonna be saving their money so they can go Black Friday shopping, Cyber Monday shopping, and all that stuff. So one of the things first that I believe are gonna drop next month is the Louis Vuitton Virgil, or the Louis Vuitton designed by Virgil line. That should be coming out next month. I know they had a pop-up that was on October 25th where you can kind of go see the collection, maybe buy some stuff. Now moving on, we got the Nike times Jerry Lorenzo collab. Now this collab, I think everybody was kind of expecting him to collab with Nike. I'm pretty sure they were like in ties already, but he's dropping that new sneaker. I think it looks dope off my initial reaction. It kind of looks more like an athletic, kind of like an off-court athletic shoe that Nike typically makes, but just the lacing system is really unique with that shoe, and I think overall he killed it. Like, maybe people don't really like it now, but I think once it drops and we start seeing people wearing more on feet, I think it's really going to be a shoe that people are going to be looking out for. Next we got the Travis Scott times Nike collab. Now initially I wasn't sure how I felt about the backwards Nike sign. I know a lot of people liked it and they just liked the idea. Me personally, I do like the idea. The colorway is fire, like super fire. But just the way that they placed the Nike sign, I think was a bit awkward. Like if you look at it from like a design aspect, right where the Nike sign is on the Jordan 1, like there's too much space in between like the eyelets and where the Nike sign is. Like the Nike sign kind of like dips, you know, and I think it just gives too much space right there. And the Nike sign is like cut off from the outsole, and I don't think that they placed that right. But in general, like if that was a shoe that I was able to cop for retail, I definitely would probably cop it still, just because it's a Travis Scott collab. I think they also are having, or they're dropping a 4, so that'll be dope. But it's probably gonna be like a package deal. If not, I'm definitely gonna try to scoop the 1. Like just because it's a Travis Scott collab with the backward Nike sign, I know it's gonna be like one of those pieces you just wanna have. So next we got the Golf with Fleur times Converse. Now we all know that these have been everywhere, but they are dropping new colorways, and they're dropping some with the high top chucks. So one of them is like a cream colored, and I think it has like a baby blue stripe along the outsole, and then there's another high top that kind of has like that basket knit stitching on it, which I personally think is dope. They also are doing that for the 1 star, and I'm either gonna cop the the 1-star or the like basket knit high top, because I just think those are dope. And it has golfing flare in the inside of the shoe, so those are just different. And I don't know, I'm a fan of Tyler Creator, so I kind of just want it just cause, but that's something that is dropping in November. Now next is the off-white Nike Air Force One in the neon colorway. Personally, I think that neon is, especially neon green, is a super popping color for the fall. We've seen it on a lot of people like Kanye, Kim Kardashian, just people been wearing that neon color, and I think this was like the perfect time to drop a shoe like that. But personally, I don't think people are going to be too drawn to this shoe just because I think it's a little out there and everybody's not ready to wear a color that pops that hard. But for it to be a Nike shoe, that's right up their alley. Nike has a lot of neon colorway shoes, so if you're a Nike person and you're an off-white person, this is probably going to be a shoe that you're going to go for. But I don't think it would be as hard to get as the previous Air Force One collabs. Now last on the list, we got the Sachs Nike. Now when I first saw these, I thought they were super amazing until I seen the retail price, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that. But overall, the design of it is super dope. You know, the Sachs, I forget what model that is, but the brown joints with the red swoosh, he has those, and I think they kind of like mesh those together. But they have that shoe, or this shoe is kind of like a super futuristic space moon shoe that I just think looks dope. It kind of looks like some scrubs or something that you would wear with like a doctor suit or something like that. I said doctor suit, but I meant like when you do surgery, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that they wear. Anyway, I think that shoe is just super unique. I feel like I could pull that shoe up. A lot of people probably are not gonna get that shoe just because it's not an everyday shoe. Like, let's be honest. And if you gotta pay $500 for it, yeah, people are probably not gonna cop it. But it is coming out, so I had to let you guys know. Now, some of the topics that I have are influenced off Instagram because I put up a poll and told you guys to ask me questions so you can have input on this. But one of them was about merch. Now, a specific question was, how does merch influence fashion culture? And I just think merch gives that outlet so you can easily put out or promote an idea without having to put too much production behind it. When you start building things like clothing brands, you really have to make it like, not that you have to, but it's kind of like one big masterpiece. And I think merch allows you to kind of make mistakes or just put something out a lot quicker because it usually it doesn't cost as much to produce what you're selling when it's called merch. Next topic, we have brands to look out for. Some of these brands you may have heard of already, some of them you may not have, but they're just personal brands that I just see that I think you guys should at least know about if you don't already. Some of them are really, really low key, but overall I just want to let you guys know and share with you. Now, first brand we have, if you follow the Spaghetti Boys, which is like Luca Sabat, Kerwin, and you have Axe Pizza, and he has a line that's dropping. I think I seen him preview it on Instagram, and it has like this W. I don't even know what it is, but it has like these marks, and he puts it on denim, he puts it on like shirts, flannels, and I just think the aesthetic of it is dope. I think he has ski masks too, but overall I think that's really dope. I think that's something that if you don't know about already, you should probably know about because it's kind of like in that culture. But yeah, I just think it's dope. Now, next brand we're going to talk about is a brand called Bare Knuckles. Now, if you watch other YouTubers, you've probably seen them talk about this, but it's a brand by Jacob Keller and his friend Cole McBad. Honestly, I just think that their pieces are super, super high quality. I don't own them personally, but just first looks and how I heard them explain how it was made, just overall, I think the quality of their stuff and the thought behind it was just really good. Now, Jacob is an OG YouTuber in the fashion community, so if you don't know who that is, I don't know, maybe you're just too young or something, but he doesn't really make YouTube videos anymore. Overall though, I just think when you're a YouTuber and you've reviewed a lot of things, you kind of know what you want to put into a brand and you know what quality should be there and things like that. So I think that's probably a good brand to buy into. I also seen they had this black vest with like this white outline stitching that I just thought was absolutely fire. So next brand is called Napapijri. I'm probably not saying that right, but this is a brand that you probably seen on Instagram a lot. Also, I've mentioned it in previous videos, but they make a lot of outerwear winter type stuff. I don't know if it's just because of the season, but I've only seen these winter pieces from them, and I've seen their brand like maybe earlier this year. Next brand is one that I'm sure you probably haven't heard of. This is just one that I came across and I personally saved it, and it's called Blackmerle. They carry more like tactical gear type of stuff. It kind of has a look of maybe like a Cold Wall, more like a C2H4 if you know that brand. They kind of have like those tech wear jackets with like different pouches and stuff like that attached to them. So I think that's just right up my alley if you see my style, but that's a brand that's super low key. I'm not too sure if they even have an online site. I think they only have stuff in store. So next brand is Swear London, which is a London-based brand, and it has these nice bulky shoes. They kind of give, one of their models kind of looks like the Balenciaga Runner. It's kind of like it's a triple S inspired, chunky sneaker inspired type of brand. Last brand I got on this list is a French brand called Drôle de Monsieur. I'm probably not saying that right either, but I think this brand is super fire. Pieces in general that I've seen on their website is this overcoat that is like a plaid, and then it has their little D logo on it. I think that jacket is just extremely clean, but I do think they have high prices, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick that up. But they also have a varsity jacket in that same plaid print. It's kind of like on the chest, and then the sleeves have a nice khaki look. Collar is a maroon red. I just think overall the color palette that they use on all of their pieces is just so spot on, and it's such an easy, ready to wear brand. Now for the next topic, we got collaborations. Now first off, we're gonna start off with clothing collaborations, which is music artists and clothing brands. First one that comes to mind is A$AP Rocky x Under Armour. Now we know this dropped like a couple of months ago, or maybe like a month or so, but they dropped the Under Armour collab shoe, and first initial thoughts of it, I was like, nah, like this ain't it. And then the more I see it and the more I see the aesthetic, if you put it with a baggier pants, I was like, you know what, like, I really kind of think this is dope. And I think bulkier shoes obviously are in trend, but some of the colorways, like they had like a flame colorway, and then specifically they had a colorway that had like a little hint of blue on it, and I just thought those were dope, especially the flame one. I don't know, it looks like a custom shoe, and you can also put like, I think they have like duct tape, so it like looks like a sample and it comes with that. So I think whenever you hear A$AP Rocky talk about the meaning behind the shoe, it kind of like gives that backstory, you start to appreciate it more, and that was one of those things that kind of grew on me this year. Next we got Tyler and Suicoke. Now this is a really recent collab, and they have these Suicoke slides. They have a khaki pair and they have a yellow pair. Both colorways I think are dope. Honestly, I think I would rather have the khaki pair just because it's nice, mellowed out, you can wear them every day. The yellow pair is cool, but like it's really out there. You have to wear like a yellow outfit or something that goes with yellow to wear that sneaker, that sandal. But overall, I think the collab is dope. I wish they would have put more logoing on it, because the really only way you know if it's golf is because it says golf on the inside, which you don't have to go too crazy with it, but buying something that's probably gonna be overpriced because it's Golf with Vert collab, I really just wanted to see like another logo. So now with collabs, this kind of transitions us into music as a topic. Now I'm gonna start off with music collabs that happened this month. Now the first collab tape that I'm gonna talk about is Lil Baby and Gunna, Drip Harder. Honestly, I feel like it was a bit too early for this collab tape. Both of the artists are really, really hot right now, and I think we just needed to hear a little bit more of them individually, whether it be through features or their own singles, but this was a bit early. I don't know, maybe that's just personal, but I just thought it was a bit early. But regardless, I do think it was a great collab tape, probably one of the better collab tapes that have happened in a while. Both of them sound really similar, so it was easy for them to kind of just mesh well on one album and make dope singles. Now the next collab tape that we had was Juice WRLD and Future, World on Drugs. Now me personally, I don't think that this album lived up to the hype. I remember seeing them talking about they were in the studio together, and I was like, yo, like Juice and Future, both melodic type of artists. And when the album dropped, like don't get me wrong, like the first couple of songs were good, and I was like, oh, this tape's gonna be hot. But the more I listened to it, the more I realized that Future wasn't needed on the album. I honestly don't think that their sounds like complement each other. I think that Juice WRLD's melodies are way more fire than Future. I don't know if y'all gonna kill me for that, but I think Juice WRLD killed on this album. Like this should have been just a Juice WRLD album. I would have been way more satisfied. Now my favorite songs on here was Jet Lag, which is the first song. I liked Fine China, and I liked Hard Work Pays Off. Those are 3 songs that I feel like their sounds mesh really well together. All the other songs, especially, like, I don't know, Future is just a hit or miss to me. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. Future is a hit or miss. Most of his collab tapes haven't been well. Like, him and Young Thug made good like singles together, but as a whole tape. Now, a future collab that's happening, or that's supposed to be happening, is the Wang Sap collab with A$AP Rocky and Tyler, the Creator. From listening to Potato Salad, this has, like, if the songs are half as good as that, it's gonna be a fire album. Rocky in general, I think, needs a comeback, and I think this would definitely put him back up there where he needs to be musically. Now, Rocky's never made, he doesn't make bad music, I'm not saying that, but as far as the general public and how they received his last album, I don't think it did too well. Maybe it was the timing of the album. The album definitely served its purpose of what he explained that it was supposed to be for, but I just think overall it just didn't resonate with the culture like that. Like, it didn't have that grounding staple album feel. Now that we're all the way into the music category, I want to talk about music artists and their influence on fashion culture. Now, from one aspect, you have to understand that music artists are usually the bigger of the influencers. Now, you have like fashion influencers, you have models, you have celebrities, but these music artists tend to be the bigger of the celebrities, just because I think music in general is more easily spread across the masses. So people tend to relate to the music, and naturally relating to the music, you want to relate to the artist. And when you do that, you see the artist's aesthetic and what they wear, and you tend to buy into someone's image. I think rap and hip hop in general has turned into this one huge genre that accepts all types of music. Like, you got the emo rap, you have even like a rock aesthetic in music, because you see every rapper is like, I'm not a rapper, I'm a rock star. Like, we kind of just embrace everything, so it's easy for rap and hip hop to become like that big genre of fashion culture. Now, with that being said, you kind of have the flip side, which you have people in fashion culture kind of influencing the music artists, and you have people like Ian Connor who don't make music but almost has the same aura of a rapper. And I just think that stuff like that kind of plays in a part. Now you see Lucas Sabat, he was in the No Stylish video, and they're kind of pulling all these different models and these different influential people. I feel like they're just bringing them into music. Like, they're taking them from fashion and bringing them into music. So some people who I think are the most influential artists and kind of laid out that blueprint for people to wear whatever they want, right off the bat, is A$AP Rocky. And y'all probably tired of me saying that, but he is definitely one of those cultural influencing people who just kind of whatever he wears or whatever he thinks is dope will slowly transcend to everybody else thinking it's dope. Next person is Young Thug. I kind of put Lil Uzi in the same kind of category, but I think Young Thug was definitely one of those people who wore whatever, and whatever controversy came with it, he was just okay and accepted it. Like, a lot of people were like, yo, he's wearing like skirts, he was wearing dresses, and he kind of opened the eye for everyone to like accept whatever you wear, you can wear without being called like gay or like some weird stuff. So I think he opened the lane to where you're not such a weirdo for wearing whatever you want. He even wore like women's clothes, just made them look dope. Like, you can't tell Young Thug is not fire. And that's why I kind of put Lil Uzi in the same kind of category, because they have that like feminine vibe. It's not really a vibe, just like with the piercings and everything, people who would before them call it like feminine or like girly to do, they made it cool, because they still pulling every girl. You can't say nothing about it, so they opened the doors for everybody. Another person that was really, really influential is Tyler, the Creator. Now, when Odd Future kind of first came out, they had that culture vibe, same as A$AP Mob, where it was like whatever they do is cool. They were coming in with that skater vibe, but now you kind of see Tyler, the Creator transitioning into like that like old man look, where he's wearing like cardigans, sweaters, little dad hats and stuff like that. And I just think it's dope to see people like him influence as he progresses and how he changes, and the culture kind of changes with him. So I just think Tyler, the Creator, is overall super influential. Now the next topic is the direction of music and the oversaturation of rappers or just music artists in general. Now this is a topic that I really want to talk about because it's super relevant right now, especially with social media. At this point we live in an era where the internet is the ultimate tool and it gives everybody a voice, everybody a platform to kind of just do or say or promote whatever they want to promote. So it became super accessible and affordable just to be able to have softwares and equipment to make music in general. So that's why I think there's so many people making it, which is good and bad. It's a good thing because now we can see people who are really talented and who wouldn't have had the connections before now have a chance to kind of like be their own managers and build their own platform and have the world see it without typically being tied into the music industry. I think this serves purpose for most of the SoundCloud rappers that we have today. Like, will we really have a Uzi, a Pump, and all these people if there was no way for them to outlet their music? Like, most people don't know people, and the internet kind of, wherever you're at, if you can use the internet right, now you can show people your music, and if they like it and they catch on, you become this big artist. Which brings me into the bad parts of it. For one, I think people see these people who quote unquote aren't so talented or who they blow up off one song and they got all this success. Now I think people are like just wanting a piece of the pie and like, yo, he made that song, he wasn't even saying nothing. Let me make a song too. So now you have all these people who really aren't talented and who are just making music. So now we have an internet where it's just like a bunch of SoundCloud links. Everybody's making music. Anybody who thinks they just have some type of internet clout is like, yeah, let me just make music. And now it's just super oversaturated. So the bad part is you have to dig so deep to find those people. So you kind of get put back in that position that you're in. And I think just overall, we just might be tired of clicking SoundCloud links or hearing people say, hey bro, can you listen to my SoundCloud link or send it to DM or whatever it may be. So that is definitely a con. Now last topic in the music industry, which is there's always something weird going on, but it's controversy. Now, of course Kanye West has been in the media and I kind of just have to talk about it at this point. And you know, we got the whole like MAGA hat and him being with Trump and all that stuff. And honestly now, like in the space he's in currently, right now, where he's in Africa, kind of like filling out the vibe, he's out the sunken place, I think Kanye is doing pretty well. I don't think he is as overboard as people were looking at him maybe like a few months ago before he dropped that album. I think sometimes people just hear a headline and they kind of like assume that Kanye is this like bad person now when he said like slavery was a choice and stuff like that. I think he was just taken out of context, and if you go and you look into the actual interviews that he does instead of like looking at the headlines saying Kanye said this, headlines are chopped and screwed to look crazier than they are. So I just think if we just let Kanye be, you know what I'm saying, he makes great music regardless if you like him as a person or not. I think people have a hard time separating the music artist from the person in general, which you don't have to. If you like the music, you can dig into that person, but I think when you do it too much, it kind of like, people are people, bro, and like at the end of the day, like people do make mistakes, or they'll do something that you just don't agree with, and I think that's where Kanye was kind of in. Now the last topic that we have is rating albums from 1 to 5 that came out this month. Now some of these I've talked about already, but first album we have Drip Harder by Gunna and Lil Baby. I'm definitely giving that album a 4. I think it was exactly what we expected it to be, lived up to its hype, has hit songs on it, so I'm gonna give it a 4. Next one we got Mud Boy by the long-awaited Sachs West, Best Kept Secret. Honestly, I don't think that this album lived up to what I thought it was gonna be. Don't get me wrong, it had some really dope songs. It had songs like Gmail. It had, of course, like the bangers Chippy Chippy, Obama, and I just think those were the songs that really made this album a staple. Everything else, it was one of those things that like grew on me. Like when I first heard the Sachs West joint, I was kind of disappointed because I was looking for those Mo Bamba and those Chippy Chippy bangers, and I just feel like, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it as much. But overall, I definitely give it a 3.5 on the album scale. Next up, we got Quavo Huncho, which was a single album by Quavo from the Migos. And honestly, albums from the Migos are just things that Migos are people that I don't want to hear a full album from. I personally like their singles. Don't get me wrong, like I love Migos music, but I want to hear them drop singles and club bangers. And when they have an album, which is pretty much all singles, like it's hard to listen through the album because they don't really sequence well. But overall, I think he did have some great songs on this album, and I'm definitely gonna give it a 4 on the hot scale, or on the album scale. I want to call it the hot scale, that sounds better. Next we have Nothing Approved by Lil Yachty. This honestly was one of the best Yachty tapes that I've heard. Last album was Lil Bo 2. I think this one was better than Lil Bo 2 in my opinion. Lil Bo 2 did have some bangers on it, but I just think as far as an album, this was one of those projects where he gave us half and half of the rapping and the melodic stuff. I don't feel like it was too much melodic stuff on the Lil Bo 2. Lil Bo 2 was like him trying to like really prove that he can rap and make club bangers, and I don't feel like that's the Yachty that we were looking for. So this album right here was definitely it. I'm giving it a 5 on the hot scale because I thought that this album was cold. Features was perfect. The Playboy Cardi song was a banger. Now The World on Drugs, Juice WRLD and Future collab is the next album, and I already shared my thoughts on this, and I personally think that it was a 3. I think it was a 3 on the hot scale just because maybe I was expecting a lot more than the album actually was. So next album that came out was Northsbest by Lil Mosey. I think this was a super slept on album. Lil Mosey makes a lot of dope tracks in my personal opinion, and this was one that showed that he can make more hits than just like Booth Pack or what's the other one? And Notice. Notice was the other song, and I think that he was able to make a good sounding album. He did remix some other songs, like he has the Chris Brown song that he remixed called Greet Her, and I just think overall his voice on the track just sounds really, really good. So I'm gonna give this one a solid 4 on the hot scale. Next we have Love Me Now by Tory Lanez. I've been a huge Tory Lanez fan even since like when he was dropping like the older tapes before well, I'm not gonna lie, first song I did hear was Say It, but like once I heard that and I went back and listened to his music, like Tory Lanez is a super talented music artist, and everything he makes and every album he puts out, the song sequences makes it super easy to follow along and stay on track and listen to the whole album straight. So this was definitely a fire album, and I'm giving it a 5 on the hot scale. Last album that we have on here is Made in Tokyo's album called Sincerely Tokyo. I think Made in Tokyo is one of the most slept on artists that have came up with this like newer generation. I think he makes a bunch of hits, but I feel like it just doesn't get the recognition that I feel like it should. Now obviously he had Uber Everywhere, and that went crazy, but I think overall he has a lot of hits on this song. He has Outstanding, and the first song that he has on here, and just Ned Flanders with Ferg is he has bangers, man. So I'm definitely giving this a 4.5 on the hot scale. So that's pretty much it for the video. At the end, I'm just gonna put songs that are currently in my playlist that I've been bumping or that I have on repeat right now at the moment. And besides that, go down in the comments, let me know if you like videos like this. Say yes, we want this, and hit the thumbs up so I know you guys want a video like this every month. Because every month there's always something new in fashion that is dropping, or is just a topic in general. There's always music stuff going on, so this is something that I can easily make on a consistent basis. So like always, go down and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I'll be making more content for you guys, so stay tuned, hit that notification bell, and I'll be back to you guys with more videos, man. Peace.
Save my life running away from you. I'm gonna waste my time if I wait on you. I done seen it all before, like deja vu. In the back with my niggas, all the same, we might act up. Come with caution cause you know we all strapped up. Yo bitch, she want me cause she seen a nigga stacked up. But I can keep her, I just wanna be the backup.
Shawty in love with my drip, I get that drip, you get drip, 220 out on that red, I get that drip, you get drip. I'm for that bitch, I'm a pimp. I'm in love, but we not same fat, I'm heavy like brick. I'm rock star, got slits on my wrist. You ain't never hear heavy metal like this. You ain't never see a really full of that piss. You like fat, I'm heavy like brick. I'm rock star, got slits on my wrist.
Just jump off a jet to a jet. dick, call the